to order. It's my job to tell you at 6 p.m. we had an executive session to discuss personnel and legal issues. And I'll turn the meeting over now to Dr. Tucker.
Thank you, Mrs. Maines. These past few days have been very difficult for the entire Greater Latrobe School District community. The loss of our senior high school secretary, Terry Sherwin, is nothing short of devastating. Terry worked in our district for 16 years. She was the guidance secretary at the junior high school for several years before joining the senior high school office team. Terry loved the students and built positive, caring relationships with so many. She always had a smile and a positive, contagious attitude. Terry was not only a dedicated employee, but a shining light for so many of us at Greater Latrobe. Terry will be missed by all of us, but will never be forgotten. Our thoughts and prayers continue to go out to her family. Could we please have a moment of silence in remembrance of Terry Sherwin? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tepper. Would you please rise and join me in saluting the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Hauser?
Here.
Mrs. Kozer? Here. Mr. LoCascio?
Here.
Mrs. Maines?
Here.
Mr. McCommon?
Here.
Mr. Music?
Here.
Mr. Palmer?
Here.
Mrs. Surratt? Here. Dr. Zorch?
Present.
The first item on the agenda tonight is to elect a temporary president to run the meeting this evening. Anyone from the list of members can be appointed. Does anyone wish to nominate anyone to do that?
I nominate Susan.
Pardon me?
I nominate you, Susan.
Oh, thank you. Any other nominations? Okay, all those in favor of having me run this meeting, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. Okay. The first thing we need to do is elect the president. So I will open the floor for nominations for the office of school board president.
I nominate Nick Gore.
Heidi said Eric Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. LoCascio.
I nominate Mike Short.
Dr. Zorch. Okay. Any other nominations this evening? Any other nominations for office of president? Any other nominations? Okay, the way we will do this is I will ask Mrs. Verhofsky to call the roll, and when she comes to you personally, please say you're voting either for Dr. Zorch or Eric Hauser. We clear? Okay. Mrs. Verhofsky, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Hauser?
Mr. Hauser?
Myself.
Mrs. Kozer?
Eric Hauser.
Mr. LoCascio?
Mr. Dr. Dorch.
Mrs. Maines?
Dr. Zorch?
Mr. McCommon?
Mr. Hauser.
Mr. Music,
Dr. Zorch.
Mr. Palmer,
Eric Hauser.
Mrs. Surratt. Mr. Hauser. Dr. Zorch.
I concede.
We have 5 for Hauser and 4 for Zorch.
The vote is Mr. Hauser 5, Dr. Zorch 4. So Mr. Hauser is the new president of the board. Congratulations, Eric. And since Mr. Hauser is online, I will continue with the rest of this meeting. We need a nomination, an election of the school board vice president.
I nominate Paul McCollins.
Okay, Paul McCummins has been nominated, and I will nominate Mr. LaCasio.
I ask that my name be removed.
Okay, any other nominations for vice president of the board?
I nominate Heidi Kozar.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Okay, do I have permission to cast a unanimous ballot then for Paul McCummins as vice president?
I nominated Heidi.
I defer. I don't want it.
What'd she say?
She deferred.
She's opposed?
No. Bill nominated Heidi, but Heidi declines, so.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I'm sorry, Joe. I didn't hear you say that. Okay, you don't want it? Okay. So, anybody else? Do I have permission to cast any unanimous ballot?
Coleman's nominated Mr. Palmer.
Oh, Paul?
I nominated Paul. I respectfully decline Paul.
What just happened?
Mr. Palmer declined Mr. Coleman's nomination.
So we have Paul McCollins nominated. Are there any other nominations? Okay, do I have permission from the board to ask for a unanimous ballot to elect Paul McCollins as the vice president?
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, congratulations, Paul, you're the
Thank
new
you.
vice president of the board.
Congratulations, Paul.
Okay, moving along, resolution number 1 is the selection of our solicitor, and resolved that the firm Nichols and Nichols, attorney at law, 1714 Lincoln Avenue, Latrobe, is hereby appointed to serve as solicitor for the Greater Latrobe Board of School Directors for the ensuing year at an annual retainer of $6,100. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we elect Nichols and Nichols as our solicitor. All those in favor, oh, we need a roll call vote on this also. So roll call vote, Mrs. Prohaski?
Mr. Hauser. Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mrs. Kocher.
Yes.
Mr. LaCasio.
Yes.
Mrs. Maines.
Yes.
Mr. McCommons.
I need to think about that, but I'll say yes.
I decline.
Mr. Music.
Yes.
Mr. Palmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Surratt.
Yes.
Dr. Zorch.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
Mr. Nichols.
And let me just again thank the board. This is my 38th year, and I've been working with a lot of people over the years, and I can't tell you what an honor it is to work for this board, with this administration, in this school district. I'm proud to live here, and just thank you once again.
Thank you for everything. We're honored to have you. Okay, resolution number 2 is the designation of the monthly meetings. That the Greater Latrobe School Board of Directors will hold their committee of the whole meeting the second Tuesday of each month and regular meeting on the third Tuesday of each month at 7:30 p.m. in the SCS Center for Student Creativity unless noted. Note, there will not be a meeting held in July, and November will have only one meeting. The board secretary is then authorized to advertise the meeting dates and times in accordance with the listed schedule. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We adopt resolution number 2. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Anyone opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. And the next sheet is your whole list of meetings for the year that you can tap on your bulletin board to remind you. And in December, this is the reorganization meeting, and we will follow it immediately by the committee of the whole meeting. That's in December, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing. My fault. So now, any other business to come before the board during the reorganization meeting? Okay, hearing none, I move for adoption of resolution number 3 to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, we adjourn this meeting. As I stated, we will be going right into the committee of the whole meeting, so thank you. It's adjourned. The committee of the whole meeting for this evening, and ask Mrs. Prohaski to again please call the roll.
Mr. Hauser?
Here.
Mrs. Kozer? Here. Mr. LoCascio?
Here.
Mrs. May? Here. Mr. McCommon?
Here.
Mr. Music?
Here.
Mr. Palmer?
Here.
Mrs. Surratt? Here. Dr. Zorch?
Here.
Okay. I failed to report to you that at 6 p.m. this evening, we hold an executive session about personnel and legal issue. Superintendent's report, Dr. Tapper.
Thank you, Mrs. Mays. Good evening, and thank you for attending this evening's meeting. I would like to take a few minutes to review our instructional models at Greater Latrobe since the beginning of the school year in August while being in this pandemic. The past entire summer was spent planning for the opening of schools. Prior to the opening of school on August 31st, Greater Latrobe School District's recommended plan was for all students K-12 to be in 5 days a week in a brick and mortar setting, while giving students the choice to participate in GLSD online instruction if choosing not to come brick and mortar. However, the week prior to school, there was much discussion with our administrative team, our school solicitor, and our local medical panel, and it was agreed at that time, due to concerns of students at the secondary level being at a greater risk for transmitting the virus, that the best compromise would be for our elementary students to attend school 5 days a week in a brick and mortar setting while implementing a hybrid learning model for our junior and senior high school students. Our junior and senior high school students remained in the hybrid model through Friday, September 25th. While discussing the possibility for a change in our instructional model at our secondary level, we, as usual, had much discussion with our administrative team, Board of Education, and our local medical panel prior to making the decision to return our secondary students to a full-time, 5 days a week brick and mortar setting. As a result of these discussions, the review of data and research, it was determined that our junior and senior high school students would begin full-time, 5 days a week, brick and mortar instruction on Monday, September 28th. As always, parents and guardians had the choice to keep their students at home and participate in GLSD online. Until approximately October 16, 2020, Westmoreland County had remained in the moderate level of transmission for COVID, and all of our schools continued to operate in a full-time brick and mortar setting. Again, with the option for students to participate in GLSD online. On Monday, October 26, 2020, all schools in Westmoreland County took part in a Skype meeting with representatives from the Pennsylvania Department of Education and Health. Both departments strongly recommended that the school districts in the county transition to full remote learning after 2 weeks of Westmoreland County being in the substantial transmission level for COVID. At that time, our district contacted and worked with our school solicitor and local medical panel. The local medical panel recommended, the majority of the local medical panel recommended a 2-week pause from brick and mortar instruction, during which time we would transition to a full-time remote learning model. The purpose of this pause was to allow further analysis of the COVID-19 spread. Our district transitioned to a full remote learning model beginning November 2nd and continued in a full remote learning model through November 13th. Greater Latrobe was one of the few school districts who took the recommendation to go to full remote learning. The week ending November 6th, our county returned to the moderate level for COVID transmission. At that time, we spoke with 2 physicians from our medical team who supported our return to our blended model of instruction, which includes the face-to-face brick and mortar instruction, again with the choice for students to remain participating in GLSD online. On November 10th, our Board of Education voted 9-0 for our students to return to our blended model of instruction on November 16th. Our instructional model from November 16th through November 25th has been a blended model, which again includes the choice for 5-day brick and mortar instruction or the participation in GLSD online. On Monday, November 23rd, the Pennsylvania Department of Health and Department of Education required school districts to complete an attestation form ensuring implementation of mitigation efforts if the school district would offer any face-to-face instruction, any face-to-face in-person instruction, and attest to follow recommendations for pre-K to 12 schools following identification of cases of COVID. So again, this attestation order was only for attesting to abide by mitigation efforts and masking requirements, as well as recommendations for pre-K to 12 schools following identifications of cases of COVID. The order given on Monday, November 23rd, required districts to complete the attestation form and have it signed by the president of the Board of Education and the superintendents of school, and it had to be submitted to the Pennsylvania Department of Education by 5 p.m. November 30th. As you can see, this was a quick turnaround time. Upon receiving this mandate, I met with the Solicitor of Schools, Mr. Naples, and an emergency meeting was scheduled for Wednesday, November 25th with our entire Board of Education to review and vote on the attestation form. The purpose of this meeting was for all board members to be fully aware of the attestation and our mandate to follow the guidelines. At this point, we did not feel it was appropriate just for the president of the board and the superintendent to sign the attestation form. Please note, and this is what I would like to be very clear with, the attestation form was not signed to adhere to a specific instructional model. However, it was signed to attest if any face-to-face brick-and-mortar instruction would be offered, that our school district would follow all mitigation efforts and recommendations for pre-K to 12 schools and follow the identification of cases of COVID. This was misconstrued by many, including our local media. During the past 6 days, our county positive COVID cases have continued to rise, and we have remained in the substantial level of transmission for the past 3 weeks. Families have celebrated the Thanksgiving holiday and may have even traveled out of state. Additionally, our extended holiday season is approaching quickly. In order to provide the best continuity of education for our students and to do our best to maintain the health and safety of our entire school community as cases continue to rise in the substantial level, and while also adhering to the Pennsylvania Department of Health guidelines for traveling during the holiday season, it is my recommendation to begin a full remote GLSD online instruction model beginning Friday, December 4th and continuing through Monday, January 18th, 2021. Tomorrow, Wednesday, December 2nd, is an Act 80 day for our teachers to fully prepare for the transition and continuity of instruction for full remote learning to close out our semester. Thursday, December 3rd will be utilized for distribution and pickup of any materials needed for our students to have everything they need to participate in full capacity in GLSD online. Additional information will be communicated to families by building principals tomorrow pertaining to specific instructions regarding the pickup and/or dissemination of instructional materials, which will occur on Thursday, December 3rd. Our instructional model will be reevaluated at our January Committee of the Whole meeting to determine if there will be a change from that remote learning model. During the time of full remote learning, athletics and extracurricular activities will continue as student athletes and parents have the choice whether to participate or not in their athletics and extracurricular activities. You will note on the agenda there is a resolution to approve the updated Greater Latrobe School District's continuity of education plan, as well as the Greater Latrobe School District's phased school reopening health and safety plan. Additionally, after the executive session was held and discussion occurred, there will be a resolution included for this evening for our athletics and extracurricular activities to continue even throughout remote learning. As always, I thank you for your support during this most difficult, unprecedented time. And again, I appreciate your attendance this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tepper. Solicitors report, Mr. Nichols.
No report.
It's now time for hearing of visitors part 1. If you wish to address the board about anything that we will be voting on tonight's agenda, please approach the microphone and give us your name and address, and try to limit your comments to around 5 minutes.
Phone 3504, State Route 982. So, Dr. Tepper, with the recommendation tonight, does the board vote on that tonight, or is it just a flat?
The board will vote on it through our updated continuity or of education plan and our phased reopening plan.
Okay. Like I said, I'm sorry for what, for the passing of the secretary last week. I don't want to get up here and look like a monster for schools to be open, but I'll be that monster if it takes for my kid to go to school in a brick and mortar. What I would ask you is, you've given the option for people that don't feel safe to do online. Give me that option to send my kid to a brick and mortar school, please. Listen, I don't want people up here saying, I don't know what COVID does to people. My girlfriend lost her sister August 5th. So we know what it does to people and what it does to people's lungs. I just feel that you're letting the kids down. We don't have spread in the school. I mean, we have 2 cases that I've seen today. I just, and I know I'm one person, and you're not really going to listen to me, but go back to how we started the year. Go back to the hybrid with the senior and junior high, and let the elementary go 5 days a week. And to me, I'm sorry, Mary, I don't understand how you can shut schools down, but you can let athletics go. If you're so afraid of the spread, how do you let athletics go? If you're so afraid of the spread, you have everything else open. Remember, Dr. Zord said, we should never shut down again. Mr. Lacasio said the exact same thing. Unless McDonald's closed, we should stay open. I feel the exact same way. I know there's a virus out there. I understand it, okay? But my kid needs to go 5 days a week in a brick and mortar. Can I have one of you guys come and teach her 5 days a week? What she's doing online, I'm sorry, it's not getting through her. And I know my daughter's not the only person. And I just feel that you guys are letting a bunch of kids be on, because it could be for whatever it is, 9 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever. You're not getting that time back, okay? I can only ask the board. Again, I don't want to be a monster up here asking for the school district to be open, but we're fighting for kids' lives, for God's sake. I mean, please. I mean, do you understand what I'm doing up here? I'm fighting for my kid to go to school. This shouldn't happen in the United States of America. We have a casino that's open 24/7, okay? And we're shutting down our school. How does that make sense? And then we're going to let athletics go. How does that make sense? I mean, like everybody says, follow the signs. Fauci was on Sunday saying schools should reopen. De Blasio, he's reopening New York City schools. How can we be shut down? I understand what happened, and I'm sorry, but our kids should not be, I can't even think of the word right now, be sacrificed or whatever to not get an education. I would ask the board, please take a step back at least, instead of shutting down all the way. Let my kid go to school, okay? Let elementary 5 days a week, and let junior and senior high go back to high. And I'll leave you with this, I guess, and me and Mike's talked about it during the summertime. We talked numbers, and I know how many people were on up. He knows. He knows what would happen if those kids left, and how much it would cost this district to raise taxes. I'll just tell everybody, it's a million, okay? So, how about if parents keep getting upset over this, like, we're open 1 week and we're closed. What happens if you lose half of those parents to go, private schools? Crazy. I wish I could afford right now to go to private school. Mr. Watson, give me my $10,000 back so I can send my kid to a private school. I mean, I'm asking for her to get an education. That's all I'm asking. I mean, if you guys want to call me a monster, I'll take it. I'm just asking for her to be 5 days a week in school. Again, I'm with Dr. Zort. Until the school gets cases and it's spreading in the school, please keep it open. I ask you guys, please keep it open. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Krista Shoemaker, 183 Bruno Road, Latrobe. I obviously was not planning on talking today, but I feel the exact opposite. I am beyond grateful that you are taking that initiative to care about my kids' safety. I can't be in the school to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to. Everything that you guys have done up to this point has helped our kids and has made it so our kids were safe. I don't understand the logic, and I mean no disrespect, but I don't understand the logic of saying, we'll just wait and let our kids get sick, and then we'll shut it down. Why not shut it down and avoid our children getting sick? I've seen what this has done. I've seen it firsthand. And this is an awful, awful disease. I just can't understand why everybody is not backing this. And I understand letting the kids have their sports, because there's not 100, 200 kids having a sporting event at the same time. My son's a senior. I have one in 8th grade and I have one in 4th grade. I would give my right arm for them to be able to do whatever they could. They could go back to school, that would be great. But it's not safe. It's just not safe right now. So I thank you guys, as a mom of 3 of the kids from this school, that you guys have taken this step to protect my kids. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Christy Coyle. I live at 3504 State Route 982. I'm a mom as well. I live with Tom. I watch my sister passport. And one of the things she said was, Christy, I don't want Hope to get this. And yet I'm fighting here, wanting my 3rd grader to get an education. I know the spread isn't in the schools. I know there are 2 staff members that have it, and I feel terrible for anybody who gets the results, stating that they're positive. I work in the healthcare field. This morning I came back from being off for a week and a half. I had to call my corporate office and say, I had 15 positive residents, 2 passed away, and 2 are hospitalized. And I'm worried about this many more. I haven't been in my facilities since March. These people don't have their families coming in. I get it. It's my everyday. I had to see my sister taken off of life support. I want my child to have that education. She strives for that attention with the teacher so she can learn. This is the first year she's come home and said, Mommy, I finally understand math. So when she gets that 5 minutes, she gets online, and then her teacher has to go to another group, and she's not getting it, what's that going to do for her this year, next year, and as it goes on? I understand that this is a pandemic now, but I'm worried about her issues, her mental health, her overall well-being, socially, everything now and building up to as she grows up. I understand everyone's concern, and I feel terrible that you're all suffering this loss. I'm with you. But I just want you to think of these children and what they're losing out on now, what they lost out in the spring, and what they could lose out on in the future. Please take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else care to address the board at this time? Okay, seeing no one, we will begin my report. Enrollment report, Mr. Parenta, anything you'd like to tell us this evening?
The enrollment report, as it normally is attached for your review. The only thing that I would review with you is our brick and mortar numbers and our online numbers as of December the 1st, just so I'd like to update you on those. At this point, we have 2,954 students in the brick and mortar setting, and we have 621 students who were choosing to be online.
Okay.
Right? Just, you guys like to hear this?
Thank you for pointing that out. I will move for adoption of resolution number 119 to approve the updated Greater Latrobe School District's phased school opening health and safety plan for the 2021 school year and authorize administration to submit the plan to the Pennsylvania Department of Education and post publicly on the district website as required. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We adopt resolution number 119. Any questions or discussion on that motion? All those in favor then, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And that passes unanimously. I also move for adoption resolution number 120 to approve the updated Greater Latrobe School District's continuity of education plan for the 2021 school year and authorize administration to submit the plan to the Pennsylvania Department of Education and post publicly on the district website as required. So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We adopt resolution number 120. All those in favor, any questions or discussion on that motion? All those in favor then please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed, say nay. That passes unanimously. Resolution number 121 is to approve changes to the 2021 school calendar. Would you mind going over those, Dr. Pepper?
Yes, changes for the school calendar. Currently, our Act 80 day, I apologize. We canceled today, obviously, the school altogether with instruction, and that day will be made up. And also tomorrow was changed to an Act 80 day, which is an instructional day. So we do have one day, which is today, that we will be making up. And as we move forward, we will determine if it will be made up around a spring holiday break or if it will be made up at the end of the year. Additionally, a decision will be made regarding Thursday when we are disseminating materials for our students. And there will be another update on the calendar for next board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tepper. I move for adoption then of resolution number 121 to approve the changes to the school calendar. Do I hear a second? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. We adopt the resolution number 121. All those in favor, any questions or discussion?
Dr. Zor's going to say something.
Did you wish to speak, Dr. Zorn?
Yeah, I want to talk for a second, since my name was brought up in the last discussion by some of the attendees. I changed my vote about closing the schools for a cause out of concern for staff. I still believe that children are best served by being in school. My opinion is that the children are safe, that they don't pass the infection. That doesn't seem by the science. But we have concerns about our staff. And that has always been a concern.
You turn back on?
That's why
Yeah, I think you're on.
at the beginning for the high school, because the older children are more likely to transmit the virus than younger children. I understand the explanation of having children in elementary go full-time and having a hybrid for the senior high as we did before, but that still puts staff at risk, and they're very concerned. I think in the circumstances that we have right now, it is best to take a pause and come back to school after the holiday. Right now, our hospital systems are at capacity. Health has about half the patients in the hospital with COVID. ICU beds are about half filled with COVID patients. I spoke to Dr. Jenkins, who has been my go-to regarding this information, because he does have connections in charge of the Gazette response for our county. And he recommends that we take a pause because of the hospital system dire, we use the word dire, situation right now. I understand that this is a hardship for families and for students, but sometimes for the greater good, which is our staff right now and our community, we should pause. I do agree with the CDC and Dr. Fauci recommendations about children needing to be in school, but I think at this present time, it is prudent for us to take a pause. I promise the community that I will be a champion for getting these children back in school as soon as we can. I know our administration feels the same way, but faced with the overwhelming numbers in our hospitals right now, it is best that we step back and take a pause. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zorch. We still need to vote on resolution number 121.
Yes, we did.
No, we did have a motion second. Okay, any other questions or comments on that motion? Okay, all those in favor then please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, that passes also unanimously. Our next curriculum committee meeting will be held on Tuesday, January the 19th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. here in the CSC. And we'll move to Mr. Hauser for finance. Or do you want me to do that?
Thank you, Ms. Benz.
Okay.
On the agenda for your approval will be the treasurer's report and payment bills. Also on the agenda for your approval will be to approve Let's Go Credit Union addition to the 2021 designation of depositories for fiscal year July 1, 2020, June 30, 2021. Our Finance Committee meeting minutes from November 10th are posted. Next Finance Committee meeting will be Tuesday, January 12th, 5:30 p.m. at the Senior High School Library. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Facilities, operations, and planning, Mr. Palmer.
Thank you, Ms. Mays. I would ask the board permission to advertise for general supplies, general school supplies, art, science, paper, custodial, electrical, medical supplies, fall, winter, and spring sports equipment and supplies for the 2021-22 school year.
Okay.
And the next facilities operation. Do we have to vote there?
No, for next week.
Oh, next week, that's right. Thanks for dragging me back.
You will.
Next facilities operations planning committee meeting will be Thursday, December 3rd, 2020, at 3:30 p.m. at the administration building. Thank you, Ms. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. Student activities and recreation, Mr. LaPasio. Mr. LaPasio.
Mr. LaCasio lost internet connection.
He's connected by the phone and then is now muted. I'm not sure if he knows how to unmute his phone.
Okay, I'll just take care of that.
Yes, and Mrs. Maines, if I may add, that the resolution to approve the updated athletic return to play plan has been dropped in electronically for a resolution as well.
Okay.
It's resolution number 122.
122. Okay, I move for adoption then of resolution number 122 about the athletic.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
return to play plan.
Okay, do I hear a second on that? It's been moved and seconded, we approve resolution number 122. Any questions or discussion on the motion? All those in favor then, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Under community relations, there will be a resolution on your agenda at the next meeting to approve an agreement for a school resource officer between the city of Latrobe and the Greater Latrobe School District. There will also be an agenda item to approve a nomination for Greater Latrobe GLSD Parks and Recreation Commission Board Representative. The school district appoints 3 representatives to the Parks and Recreation Board, and they come due one at a time. So this year's Dan Hennessy, his term is up for reappointment, so he will be on your agenda next week to be reappointed to the Latrobe GLSD Parks and Recreation Commission. I highly recommend him. He's an excellent board member. Also, an attachment, the Latrobe GLSD Parks and Recreation Commission meeting minutes from the meeting on November 19, 2020 are attached. And our next Latrobe GLSD Parks and Recreation Commission meeting will be held on Thursday, December 17, 2020 at 4:30 p.m. in the Latrobe Municipal Building, probably in council chambers, not the green room. We can't social distance in the green room. So that ends my report on community relations. The Westmoreland Intermediate Unit, the summary of the WIU board meeting minutes from November 24, 2020 are attached. And our next WIU committee meeting will be held Tuesday, January 26, 2021 at 7 p.m. The WIU takes December off for meetings. So that ends my report on the intermediate unit, and we'll move to transportation for Mr. Joint Operating Committee, Mrs. Kozar.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Mays. Tomorrow evening, we will be having our joint area board meeting, the big board meeting at the EWCTC. The entire board will be meeting virtually, and that is tomorrow evening at Macbeth. So
Yeah, we,
you're all welcome to.
yeah.
You all should have received an email with a link to join in on that.
For the joint area board, we need a quorum, and a few years back, we didn't get one, so even if the joint area board is, the meeting is usually very informative. I think this one's probably going to be a little bit shorter, but really, if you could just get in virtually and get the officers voted for and whatnot, then I know that Todd would be very appreciative.
Do they realize that's during a Steeler meeting now?
20 minutes of your life. 20 minutes.
What usually happens is if you're not there, you end up being named
Yeah.
as an officer, so that's the risk.
That's true.
Okay, thank you.
That completes my report.
Board Policy PSB Liaison, Dr. Zorch.
Next meeting is to be decided.
Okay, thank you so much. Technology, Mr. Palmer.
Thank you, Ms. Mays. The technology committee meeting minutes from November 10th, 2020 are attached. Our next technology committee meeting will be here at CSC, February 16th at 6 p.m. Thank you, Ms. Mays.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. Superintendent's recommendations, Dr. Tucker.
Yes, thank you. At our voting meeting, I will be asking for approval of resignations of Sean Grosso, Boys Lacrosse Assistant, and Madison Kohler Support Services Liaison. I will also be asking a resolution to approve professional personnel substitute teachers, as well as support personnel custodians. Also, support personnel, which was a supplemental appointment, but volunteers, a Winter Guard volunteer coach, Lucy Fearman, and Kelly Winichko as a Winter Guard volunteer coach as well. We will be asking the board to approve an additional school police officer, Jeffrey Lewis, and requesting for the approval of Laurie Delovish, pandemic coordinator, to receive a stipend of $5,000 for the 2020 to 21 school year. Also to approve non-contractual professional employee retirement incentive. Under other business, we have an early dismissal for students on December 23rd, and even though our students would be remote, at that time, we will still have our early dismissal, and our holiday break is from December 24th through January 1st, 2021. Our next meeting, our regular board meeting, will be held in the Center for Student Creativity and will be on Tuesday, December 15th. And in January, as I stated, we will have a committee of the whole meeting Tuesday, January 12th, where our instructional model will be reviewed again, and followed by our regular board meeting Tuesday, January 19th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m.
Thank you very much. It's now time for hearing of visitors part 2. If anyone would like to approach the podium and address the board on any item that doesn't have to be on tonight's agenda, please come now. Please state your name and address again, and limit your speech to about 5 minutes. Seeing no one, I will move for adoption of resolution number 122. Adjourn. Have I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution number 122. All those in favor, please say aye.